Penny reveals what difference the colour of your car can make. Mike checks out a people carrier in disguise, the Chrysler PT Cruiser. But first, this week's Driven 100 is the toughest test yet. Yes, we're looking for the ultimate motor, a vehicle fast enough to shame a supercar. A machine so exciting to drive that you feel like a hero every time you slip behind the wheel. But that can still seat you and 4 of your friends with limo-like comfort. This is the battle of the Supersaloons. We start with the awesome Audi S6 Quattro at over 52 grand. This high-tech motorway mauler should be the business, but it's up against some tough competition. Next is the Jaguar XJR.
Oh, so much wheel spin!
A supercharged V8 and charactered by the hamperful. Is this the best big cat ever? And finally, the BMW M5, the most powerful road car BMW has ever made. At £60,000, it's the most expensive car here, so it had better be bloomin' brilliant. To find a winner in the Driven 100, we'll be checking out their ride quality on our grueling suspension course, chucking them about to see which is the most fun on the very limit. But first, can these latest contenders from Audi, BMW and Jaguar knock out an old heavyweight champ?
That's right, you see, all 3 of this week's cars have been hyped as the ultimate in practical performance, with a sort of searing pace you'd only find 10 or 15 years ago in some wildly impractical supercar. In fact, you could almost call these 3 four-door Ferraris, and that's one hell of a claim, but which comes closest? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's to pit them against a genuine supercar, like this Ferrari Testarossa. The 390 horsepower quad-cam 5-litre V12 Testarossa is a bona fide supercar of the old school. It cost the equivalent of double the price of any of our test cars when it was new in 1985. So, to see how far technology has come in the last 15 years, we thought it'd be interesting to pit them against this beautiful but incredibly impractical machine. The electronic timing gear is attached for a run over a standing quarter mile. Let's see just how quick this fearsome prancing horse is. 60 miles an hour comes up in just 5.2 seconds, and it just keeps accelerating, and a final time of just 14.5 seconds. Pretty impressive given the damp conditions. Let's see how the Audi S6 does. It's got 340 horsepower, which is a hell of a lot, but it's the least of the 3 cars. And off we go, straight up. Doesn't feel horribly quick. Now the gear changes feel ever so slow and dull. It's a fairly uninteresting ride. And there we go, we're past the quarter mile. Wasn't very exciting. Well, 14.9 is pretty close, but not close enough. Next up, the Jaguar XJR. Now in terms of power, it sits bang between the other 2 cars with 370 horsepower, which is loads. So let's see how it gets on. I'm just going to floor the accelerator. Oh, so much wheel spin, and the car's slipping sideways. Oh my word, it doesn't have the stability that the Audi has, but it feels pretty quick. Gear changes seem faster, and I'm just about to go through that quarter mile, and we'll see what difference that makes. It doesn't feel as stable, and I suspect that's because of the stiffer suspension and the 4-wheel drive of the Audi. Now time for the BMW M5, the one I've been waiting for. It's got 400 horsepower, can you believe it? It's just so much. Okay, I'm going to rev it up to about 2,500 revs, and I'm going to dump the clutch. I'm going to get second as much as I can. It's wheel spinning like hell behind me, and it's dancing all over the road. Up to third. Now this is what I call fun. This is much more like it. Up to 4, and I'm passing the quarter mile. Miles more fun. Now that I enjoyed. Incredibly, the BMW goes into the lead in the Driven 100, beating the Ferrari Testarossa by 0.1 of a second. Later, we'll be finding out which of these has the best ride quality and which has the most exciting handling. But first, Mike goes in search of his youth.
I remember as a small boy my wide-eyed fascination as new cars arrived at the local garage. It was the swinging 60s. These were cars with character. They weren't modern boxes designed by a computer. They had style and offered a sense of individuality. Now, if we're to believe Chrysler, then those 60s cars appeal to me because I feel comfortable with anything that evokes my childhood. And on the strength of their research, they come up with this baby, the PT Cruiser. Well, it might have been different for you lot, but I can't remember seeing many hot rods cruising up and down the old Kent Road when I was a nipper. But for the moment, let's humour them, shall we? It has to be said that the PT Cruiser is a real stunner, a definite head-turner, but it's also a sheep in wolf's clothing. The PT stands for Personal Transportation, and that's a clue to its real identity. Despite its looks straight from 50s America, its function is far more mundane. For underneath lies a friendly family MPV, and it'll be coming to a showroom near you soon, boy. This spring to be exact. And the price? Well, Chrysler won't say, but it'll be somewhere between 16 and 18 grand. At low speeds, all seems well. The body's rigid and the suspension offers a comfortable ride. But if you start to rebel in true American graffiti style and put your foot down to test the 140 brake horsepower 2-litre engine, something remarkable happens. And it's nothing to do with the acceleration. Expect 0 to 62 miles per hour in 12 seconds. Not so much of a hot rod, more like a damp squib. But what does happen though is that your quiet, refined personal transportation becomes, well, less quiet as the harsh engine roars at you in protest and wind noise starts buffing over this retro-style body. So the question is, can you suffer the price of the wind noise for the shape of the body? Well, me, I think we should celebrate the fact that companies like Chrysler with the PT Cruiser, Audi with the TT and Volkswagen with the Beetle have got concept cars and put them into production to brighten up our roads. On the twisty bits, it's not all that bad to drive, you know. This humongous steering wheel weights up nicely as you come into these bends, and the brakes are fantastic. It's got a lively throttle response, if not a bit harsh. Once you stop trying to recreate the antics of some hot rodding rebel that you saw at the movies and accept that you'll be far better off just popping down the shops, you can relax and take in your surroundings. And as the Americans would say as standard, this car comes pretty loaded because you get a pull ball style gear shift, you get retro style dials stuffed down the end of tunnels, driver's airbag, passenger airbag, electric windows, electric mirrors, tinted glass and even alloy wheels. The PT is a very practical car. The rear seats fold down and each of the two sections can be removed entirely. But watch out, they're heavy. Luckily, they got casters on the bottom, so you don't have to carry them. And with all the seats out, you'll be left with 76 cubic litres of space. Which means it's big enough for even me to sleep in. And you know what? The PT Cruiser really isn't that bad. But are they going to sell it? Well, I think so. This car's going to be marketed squarely at the 30-something who's got a family and he wants the practicality of an MPV, but with all the looks of a hot rod, instead of another one of those dull Euro boxes sitting in his driveway. Now, where's that drag strip? Yeehaw!
At Driven, we have a tradition of bringing you photos of tomorrow's cars today, somewhat earlier than the manufacturers would like. But just how do we get these top secret images? Well, here's an insider's guide to the murky and lucrative world of the car paparazzi. Our guide is Britain's most successful and elusive spy photographer. He agreed to take us on a covert stakeout as long as we kept his identity a secret.
First of all, you've got to know where prototype cars are. Then you've got to be able to take photographs of them. And after that, you've got the hassle of trying to sell the photographs.
While spy shots can add to the hype surrounding a brand new model, manufacturers do tend to lose their sense of humour when a facelift of an existing model makes it into the press. After all, they've usually still got to shift a few thousand of the old one. So, what's the first step?
I will go to where the proving grounds are, and then I'll watch. I'll try to get in close, and I'll try to spot a suitable location where the prototype vehicles have to stop, traffic lights, and obviously an ideal situation is where they're having to fuel up.
Just after lunch, we're in business. This camouflage van clearly proves that Daewoo are planning to enter the lucrative commercial vehicle market. To disguise its shape, the crucial areas of the bodywork have been taped over, and extra bulk has been added to the front.
Here he is.
We're in luck again, and these scoop shots of Daewoo's new city car show another favourite technique. Black and white striping breaks up the car's outline, and it also disrupts the autofocus features on modern camera equipment. Crafty stuff, but not enough to stop us getting a peek at the new car, tipped to be a strong competitor for the Toyota Yaris.
Well, I think today's been a pretty good day, actually, one way or another. Good reconnaissance, good positioning, good timing has certainly paid handsome dividends. You have the first movie footage of that prototype.
While this footage of a Daewoo might only fetch a few £100, a good shot of the new baby Jaguar, for example, could be sold around the world for thousands. And if our agent comes up with the goods, rest assured you'll see them first here on Driven. Last week we asked you to log on to the web and help with our Good Garage Guide. We've had an amazing response, but we need more of you to fill in our survey. So please log on to www.4car.co.uk. After the break, the Supersaloon shootout continues, and everything you should know about the shade of your motor.
A railway barrier as it falls. The glorious burst water main on the A406. A majestic spilt load. Snowbound tailbacks that stir my soul. And now, everything is still. And as I gaze across this sea of tranquility, I pray, let this moment last forever.
Welcome back. Later on, the Driven 100. But first, Penny is seeing red and blue and yellow and bright purple and green and pink and fuchsia and cerise.
In the olden days, when the world was still in black and white, car manufacturers didn't care too much for colour schemes. As Henry Ford once famously remarked of his Model T, you could have any colour you wanted, as long as it was black. Then a miracle occurred. Colour was discovered and car makers haven't looked back since. This is the 021C, Ford's latest concept car, which is even named after a manufacturer's colour code. Research shows that over half of us would sacrifice the model of our choice for the colour we want, and there's a very good reason why.
A designer I know in London said to me recently, give me a good product and I can ruin it in 5 minutes with the wrong colour. Give me a bad product and I can save it in 5 minutes with the right colour.
Colour is big business. Toyota, for example, spent an absolutely staggering £2.4 billion on colour and trim research alone last year. And even a single shade like the yellow of this Volkswagen Beetle, minutely different to the yellows we see from other car manufacturers, still takes 3 years to develop and perfect. But despite all their hard work, car companies can still get it very, very wrong. Would you get this excited by a delightful beige Capri? Or how about British Leyland's lovely orange Maxi? Or this mud brown Princess? Or this, probably the most ill-judged of all, the Harlequin VW Polo Special Edition? Even the most conservative of companies can get it very wrong. Volvo once tried to foist this vile shade of yellow on us, but it seems they've learnt their lesson because this, their latest colour, is far more subdued. Now, Petra, you've got some great stories about how you actually discover the colours for your Volvos. Can you tell me about the Mistral colour and how that came about?
Yeah, the Mistral colour was really like when I was sitting on a lake in Sweden, and you could see the forest mirrored in the lake, and just before the sun went down, you had this golden glow over the lake. And you can now, I hope you see the colour now, it's a golden greyish-green colour.
You are serious?
Yes,
you saw this colour and you thought,
I saw this
that's the next colour for my Volvo?
Yes.
Car designer David Brown explains why over 30% of all Mercedes A-classes sold are silver.
Well, for different reasons. The silver A-Class for me is the most successful, and it's not because it's a German car and it's a Mercedes, therefore it must be silver. It's a colour which begins to reflect the colours of its surroundings, so it'll pick up a little bit of green from the grass in this case, blue from the sky, so if you like, it has that kind of sympathy.
And when you go to the black one, of course, certain bits really zing out.
Yes, something quite different happens. There's a big contrast between as it were, headlamp colour and body colour. So suddenly the headlamp jumps out at you, as the grille surround does too. Red is something of a surprise. You don't expect really to see a Mercedes in red, but it's a cheeky little car, which most Mercedes are not, and here it is in a cheeky little colour.
Out of all these colours, which works the least for you?
Personally, I really don't like maroon cars, and maroon, the dark blue and the dark metallic green, I would kind of lump together as colours which are really not quite here and not quite there, neither one thing nor the other.
And they don't necessarily show off the car to its best possible potential.
No, exactly. They're not statement colours.
They might not be statement colours, but if you want to avoid depreciation, you can't go wrong with blue or green. Red, silver and metallic cars hold their value very well, but buy a white car and you may as well throw your money down the drain. According to recent research, silver cars have the happiest drivers, while the most depressed owners drive pastel-coloured cars. White cars are the least likely to be involved in an accident, while lime, beige and lilac cars are the most likely to be singled out for a road rage attack. Ah! And you know the most accident-prone colour? Yep, bright yellow. But if you don't want to be pigeonholed by the colour of the car you drive, then why not keep them all guessing with a motor that changes colour as easily as changing the fascia on your mobile phone? Well, that's exactly what this little smart car does. When you get bored with blue, you just nip down to your dealer and they'll change the panels to match your mood. The only trouble is, even with all this choice, I still can't find the perfect colour for my car. That's it! That's the colour! You've got the colour I've been waiting for! Stop!
Sometimes it can actually be a bit difficult trying to assess something as abstract as drivability, but not with these cars. It's not. Let's just say they're prepared to let you have a little bit of fun. So we're here at the world famous driven handling pad. It's off with all the traction control systems. I'm going to see just how sideways I can get this week's cars.
Yes, every week you see us chucking cars left, right and centre in the search for that perfect sideways sliding shot. Well, it's easier in some cars than in others, and while it might just seem to be gratuitous fun, it's actually a good sign of how well a car is set up. Now, the judges for this contest are Penny and Mike, who will be awarding points for both style and length of slide.
Right, it's the BMW M5, 400 brake horsepower V8 of incredible cleverness, I have to say. Oh, I'm just getting understeer. And away it goes. Look at that, right? Whoa. There's a spin for you. It's a beastie.
Oops, with all that power, the M5 is dead easy to get sideways, but once it's there, a slight lack of steering feel makes it harder to control. Next, the S6.
This thing is all about grip, and on our constant radius handling circle, it just understeers like that. That's not very satisfactory from a driving entertainment point of view. Entirely satisfactory from a safety point of view. Four-wheel drive, quattro, you can't beat it if you don't want to fall off the road.
Safe, but no tail slider, the Audi gets the same score as the BMW. Last, the Jaguar XJR.
It's more controllable on the limit than the BMW was. This, to me, is the ultimate Jaguar. It's a limousine disguised as a dragster.
The Jaguar, surprisingly, is the most entertaining car here and gets 8 and 7 out of 10.
Now, we all know these cars are capable of blistering performance and extreme handling, but that's not everything, you know. You also want to make sure that you're driven home in serene comfort, smoothly and safely. So we're going to do a ride quality test. I'm going to drive each car at 15 miles an hour over our special ridge surface, carrying a glass of water to see how well they soak up the bumps. Right, first up, we're in the BMW. We're just about to enter the vicious bumps. I'm going to start going at exactly 15 miles an hour, and it's all going slightly wobbly in here as the water doing. Oh, a little bit of spillage, but not too bad. Coming towards the end of the course now, and the outcome is... Oh, thank God that's over. Well, It seemed to have lost about 1.5 centimetres of water. Not bad at all. Next, the Audi. Its floodgates are open and I'm getting soaking wet. Oh dear. This car is incredibly violent. There's going to be no water left and it's going to be all over me. I'm going to have to get myself out of the way. It's ridiculous. You can see a clear difference between this and the BMW. Number one is I never got wet in the BMW and I am absolutely soaking in here, and the camera's I have to lift the camera up as well. No, Mr. Audi, you didn't Vorsprung Dirk technique this time, mate, I tell ya. And finally, the Jag. Now this car should have a much softer suspension setup and, well, just a dribble of water really coming out of the cup. Oh no, oh, it's all gone wrong. Water's pouring out everywhere. Thank God it's over. Extra smooth ride in the BMW, second place for the Jag, but the Audi's a bit of an old bone shaker.
Decision time then in the Driven 100. Now, you must know the drill by now. We're going to rate each of this week's cars in 4 categories: drivability, desirability, practicality and cost of ownership, with a maximum of 25 points available in each of those categories to give a final score out of 100.
And as usual, we'll start with drivability. All 3 are blisteringly quick, with the Jaguar scoring particularly well for its high fun factor.
I wasn't terribly excited by the prospect of this, and I've completely changed my mind.
Yep.
It's extremely fast.
Living hecking, have some fun in this beastie, I tell you.
And it does great handbrake turns, which is very important.
I beg your pardon? It does what?
Have you not tried?
19.
The Audi was a bit of a letdown, to be honest, and scores 17. The M5 is streets ahead here. It's as fast as a Ferrari and still as smooth as a limo.
It doesn't get a lot better than this.
25.
Are we that generous?
21.
21.
Next, it's desirability, and again the Jag is off to a good start.
Look at this bonnet, eh?
It's great, isn't it?
It's my favourite Jaguar. I think
the
it looks
old,
gorgeous. You know, they've left the old Arthur Daly stereotype way back in the mist of time. Cracking looking car.
So it scores 20 out of 25, and the Audi?
It's just the ultimate stealth car. You know, you just walk down the motorway.
I think it's really pretty to look at.
19?
19?
Yeah, I'll go with that.
19,
That's a good score.
Yeah.
Good score.
But again, the BMW triumphs.
I want one.
I want one.
I would like to, actually.
For me, this is one of the 5 most desirable cars in the world. So, you know, I think we're looking at 21, because we don't like to give high scores in this programme. We like to be balanced and firm and sensible. So it's 100 for this car then. No, 21.
21.
21.
It's a good score.
Practicality.
Well,
very
it's
practical.
terribly practical. Lots of room in the back, nice big boot, very comfortable.
Yep.
I like it, Jace. I think it's quite practical.
It's a practical car. 19.
Practicality's not the Jaguar's forte, though.
It's got small boots.
It has, and it's got a huge long bonnet, so I find it quite hard to manoeuvre when I'm parking it.
17,
I think.
Come on, Jace.
All right, then 17.
And the M5?
There's room in the back for me and 2 friends. Get out the other side. There's tons of room in there. How much more practical do you want? It's a 4-door saloon. It's a BMW 5 Series. It feels like it's been cut out of solid granite.
And it scores 21.
Moves us on to cost of ownership, which is where I need to just have a wee sit down, because
It's going to get depressing.
we're talking sort of telephone numbers here in terms of insurance, cost, depreciation, everything. It's a serious issue.
Each and every mile is going to cost you a whopping £1.32 if you decide to go for the Jaguar, and the BMW is even worse at a wallet-busting £1.40. Here at last, the Audi gets its own back, being relatively cheap, if you can call 125p a mile cheap, and it scores 13.
Time for the results, and in joint second is the Audi S6. This car is good at absolutely everything except being exciting, so it gets 68 out of 100.
The Jaguar XJR gets the same score for very different reasons, since it's bursting with charisma but lacking in practicality, so it's 68 again.
There was only ever going to be one winner here. If it weren't so darn expensive, the BMW would be close to the perfect car. As it is, it gets 74.
So against some very, very stiff competition, the BMW M5 is this week's winner, and we'll see you next week.
Don't forget to check out our website www.4car.co.uk, where you can discover how to buy a Super Saloon for super mini money and how to earn cash with your camera. Next week we'll be off to the sunny south of France to find out which is the best estate car you can buy. We have exclusive spy shots of the new baby Jag, and even more exclusively, we drive BMW's mighty new sports car, the Z8.